Do you have ADHD? Do you like to write? Do you want to write a novel? Congratulations, you've come to the right place and you clicked the right video. I've seen some people on the internet saying that they can't write a novel because they have ADHD, and as far as I know, ADHD doesn't actually remove the novel writing compartment from your brain. Yes, it might make it more difficult, and this video is meant to give you some tips for how to make it easier. Not necessarily easy, but easier. Yes, writing a novel is a big project, so many things that make ADHD life difficult will also make ADHD writing difficult. Doing something difficult also has consequences, so you need to deal with the consequences and decide for yourself if it's actually worth doing the thing. For example, I'm not physically unable to go to work or go to school outside school. Like, I can do it, I can go to the place. Could be nice, but you know what happened when I had my first child and I just sort of fell out of working life, of school life? My lifelong, nearly debilitating anxiety, it disappeared. Magic of motherhood. Wow, having a child really does change you. Wrong. Turned out I didn't actually have a generalized anxiety disorder. I just couldn't handle the 9 to 5, or as it's more common here, 8 to 4, or actually since I was doing a nursing job before I stopped, 7 to 3. The consequences of having to go somewhere every day and do stuff that I couldn't choose and then having to stay there for a set number of hours, just the consequences of it just weren't worth it for me. To be fair, I am also autistic. Watch up, ADHD gang. So there are some other factors there as well. But the disgust of having to go somewhere and stay there to do stuff, it applies even with stuff that I actually want to do, stuff that I enjoy doing, and it's infuriating. If you're wondering what I'm doing for a living, then you're looking at it, and I don't mean the crochet that I brought with me to keep me from fidgeting. I mean this, Protagonist Crafts. Yes, the YouTube channel is still a baby, but I've been telling people about writing novels since 2020, and yeah, I'm glad you're here now. I also write books, and don't worry, this video isn't going to be like, well, if I can do it, then so can you. Excuses, excuses. Because I know how painful, how devastating, how downright embarrassing it can be when you can't even do the things that you want to do, that would bring you joy, that could make your life better. It's so painful, and it's really difficult to explain to people who don't have ADHD. So, like, even if you do all the things that I suggest here in this video, and I mean actually do them, not just think about them and be like, no, that's not going to work. If you do them and you still can't make yourself right, then I'm not going to come into your house and be like, shame on you, you failed. No, you only have my sympathies. So don't think of me as another stressful thing trying to make you do something. These are tips to help you, and if they don't help you, then put them down. You don't need them. But bearing in mind acceptable consequences, you can do difficult things. Yes, writing a novel, doing a big project like writing a novel when you have ADHD, yes, it is difficult, but that doesn't mean that you can't do it. What you're experiencing there is not an ability to write, it's discomfort most of the time. And sometimes you just need to get past the discomfort, because there isn't going to be a magical trick that is going to make writing a novel easy or like magically effortless all the time. There's still going to be discomfort and effort. So don't watch this with the expectation that I should be giving you some kind of a magic trick that's going to fix everything for you, because that's not going to happen. Sometimes you just have to do it and like suffer a little. You know, if it's something that you've decided is worth suffering. But what I also want you to remember, that the things that you find or might find difficult about novel writing, they're not just like you problems, they're like normal parts of the novel writing process. And I can assure you that plenty of neurotypicals struggle with that stuff as well. So if you're actually writing instead of just thinking about writing, congratulations, you're already ahead of so many people. one thing that is a problem with writing, it's very difficult to layer it with other people, because I love to do crochet. You can't crochet and write at the same time. You could dictate your story while crocheting, I guess. I've never tried it. I don't personally like to dictate anything, but it could work for someone else. It could work for you. Anyway, this is going to be a baby blanket. I love making baby blankets. So repetitive, amazing. And I don't have to look at the pattern. But anyway, let's move on with the video. So the first thing you need to do if you're writing a novel and you have ADHD is that you need to adjust your expectations. And I don't mean just with the difficulty of it. Like, yes, it is going to be difficult and you can't expect it to be easy and fun all the time. But also you need to adjust your expectations when it comes to the time frame. So what if you can only focus on it on a short amount of time at a time? Then you'll just write it slower. It's okay. It doesn't matter. And if you're going to have all these massive expectations, like you're going to write your first draft in 3 months, I have done that. I'm going to tell you how to make that easier. But like if that's your expectation and then you can't do it and then you're beating yourself up about it, and then you stop writing, then yeah, no wonder if it feels like you can't write a novel. So just forget about timelines completely and work at a pace that works for you. You might just find that it's easier to do that when you're not like pressure, I have to do this in this time. So when you stop pressuring yourself, somehow magically things become easier. Funny how that works. The second thing I want you to do, and I tell this to everyone as well, stop consuming so much content. Honestly, like, yes, I know you'll be bored if you don't have your little earphones on all the time, if you don't have the TV on all the time, if you don't listen to music all the time, you'll be bored and it's going to feel awful. I know the feeling of boredom, like that, not just like being bored, but what being bored feels like. To me personally, it feels like dying. That is a big reason why I don't yet have a degree on something that I would actually enjoy doing, and it stops me from doing even things that I would like to do, like outside the home, because I just know, oh, I have to be there 8 hours, I'll be bored and I'm going to think that I'm going to die. However, this is like a muscle that you can keep working out. You can keep exercising your boredom tolerance. I mean, you can be bored. It's going to feel uncomfortable, but you're going to just have to. I'm not going to be like, you have to deal with it, but you have to accept it. You have to accept the discomfort and not fight it and not trying to put it away all the time. And it's going to become easier and it's good for your brain and it's actually good for your sleep as well. I know many ADHD people struggle with sleep, but just this constant stream of content, of entertainment, it's bad for your brain. So don't constantly have podcasts on, don't constantly have YouTube videos on, don't constantly listen to music. Sometimes do the dishes or the laundry without entertainment. Go for a walk without your headphones. Ooh, I know. Give yourself a timer. First like 2-3 minutes and then increase it. And I promise it's good for your brain. It's going to help with this because it's like boredom and not having stimulation all the time. It's a bit like there's I forgot all the words. There's like a rubber band here and somebody is pulling it and it's really tight and it feels uncomfortable. But when you practice it over time, it's going to become more flexible and it's going to stop feeling so uncomfortable. So start from not having so much content in your brain. I mean, in your ears, coming into your brain all the time. And also it's going to give you more space for new ideas. If you feel like you don't have any new ideas or any inspiration, is it any wonder if you're constantly consuming content? And the next thing, you're not going to like hearing this, but actually put away your phone when you're writing. I mean, it's so difficult. I hate having my phone in my hand, but then sometimes my brain just goes, oh, we need a break. We need a break from this thing. It's impossible for us to do this thing. We need a break. And then then the phone is in hand because I need a break from the boring thing that I'm doing. And it's just really bad. And it's very annoying when I'm working and I try to put away the phone, but then suddenly I need it for like a authentication. I need the authenticator app. I need to use it to scan a QR code. Very annoying, but generally when you're writing, you don't actually need it. So put it away. You can't control yourself, okay? Put it away. And if you genuinely need, like, you need an Instagram moment after every 15 minutes of writing, then still put away the phone and then go to a different place. Preferably do your scrolling standing up, so it's not as comfortable and you won't like get lost doing it. And I know this is such a like entry-level tip. It's like, oh yeah, of course I have to put away my phone. God, don't you have anything new? Are you actually doing it though? If you are, well, congratulations. I'm really proud of you. But really, you do have to do it for it to work. And when it comes to distractions, you need to find the right level of distractions. Because when I'm working or when I'm writing, I do need some kind of background noise because the distraction is coming from inside the house. I have a very rich inner world. I can daydream for hours on end. So like putting away distractions, it's not necessarily helpful. So what I found helpful for me personally is having something in the background that when I'm looking away from the screen, when I can't focus on the thing so intensely, that it's something there that I can put my focus to instead of disappearing in here, because there's no coming out of here once I've fallen into the trap of my daydream world, you know. And it has to be something not too engaging. So like maybe a TV show that you've seen a million times. I like having bones in the background, but you could also have like vlogs, for example, someone just like living their life, you know, stuff like that. You could listen to like music that doesn't take you too much away from your writing. This is like a personal preference. Some people don't like music at all when they're writing. Some people prefer music without lyrics. So you could maybe listen to movie music if it suits like your story. That could be nice. A video game music, classical music, or you could just have like white noise or something. Maybe you could write somewhere where there are people. Like, yeah, it's a bit of a cliche, but a coffee shop is a nice place to write. You could go to a library to write, to a park, for example. Those could be your like nice levels of distraction, but maybe you do need 0 distractions, and you know that is fine as well. But just the point here is finding out your appropriate level of distractions, and that can be different for different parts of the writing process. So when you're just planning your story, when you're writing a first draft, when you're editing, they could require different levels of distraction, and it's important that you understand yourself so you know what is your best way to work. Yeah, so this is sort of related, but you could try doing it in different places. You could do it with a friend. That sounded really wrong out of context. You could try writing in different places. You could try writing with a friend. And I mean, you could have like your friend doesn't have to be writing, but you could have like a co-working session, you know, both have your own little laptops and you're just tapping away while sitting on the same sofa and watching the same vlogs or, you know, documentaries about flight accidents. I don't know who would do that. But yeah, try that. You might find something that works for you. And your little co-working friend could be your little accountability buddy as well. I just did something very wrong here. So sometimes layering activities doesn't work. Know your limits, okay. And then my next tip is make your writing easy to access. And this probably sounds very obvious, but again, are you doing it? So I used to write all my first drafts on my many notebooks because first of all, I didn't use my laptop a lot, and it felt like every time I opened it, there was like another Windows update. It practically took almost all of my actual writing time. So when you get a notebook, you don't need to update it. There aren't going to be notifications. You can't run out of battery. So that is very good if you can tolerate writing by hand. And I do recommend trying that. It engages your brain in a different way. But anyway, maybe working on a laptop is the best choice for you. And you could make it easier to do that anywhere. I've got a little, I don't have it with me now, but I got it from IKEA. It's like a little portable table thing. I think it's meant for like having a breakfast in bed or something. I use that so I can write on the sofa. I can't, if I have to, like, I've got this desk. I almost exclusively use this for recording podcasts and recording videos. I don't use it for writing. I can't sit at a desk. It's physically and emotionally painful. I can't do it. So find the place that works for you, where you can write in your way. And again, make it easy to access. So don't try and use all kinds of fancy software if it doesn't work for you. Like maybe Scrivener doesn't work very well on your computer and it's slow and it slows you down, then maybe don't use it. And if you need a certain kind of like environment for writing, like maybe you do need to write at your desk and things need to be exactly that you want them and need them, then try and make sure that you just leave them like that. Or if you know that you're going to write the next day, then prepare them beforehand so that you can just dive into writing straight away instead of having to waste time, figuring things out. And a writing routine is a nice thing if you can manage it. I can't. Okay. I like a routine when it comes to my workouts. Like I do strength training basically every day in the morning before lunch, and then I go running in the afternoon. That is pretty much the only way I can get it done. So I think routines are good for some things, but I can't do that with writing. I don't always know when it's going to be a good time to write. And then if you're like, well, I'm going to write every afternoon, and then afternoon comes, and then for some reason you can't write, what are you going to do? You're going to wait until the next afternoon, and then something else happens, and then you can't write then. What do you do then? So what I'm trying to say here is that routines work if you can actually make them work. But if your life is a bit chaotic, there are lots of variables, then try to make a routine happen. It's not necessarily going to work. Also, just the thought of having to do something at a certain time, it could bore you and actually stop you from doing it. So what I do, I'm a writing opportunist. I do have some set days when I'm like, okay, on Saturday I'm going to focus on writing completely. But usually it's like, oh, here's a window of opportunity. I can't focus on my writing for the next 30 minutes, so I'm going to do it. And I'm not going to be like, well, it's not my writing time yet, so I'm going to use this time scrolling Instagram, posting German memes. That was oddly specific, but I'm learning German, so it's nice to have some German memes for me to read on my feed. But anyway, so yeah, you have a routine if you think having a routine is going to work for you, but also have a contingency plan. So what are you going to do if you can't write at the set time? And make those decisions, make them beforehand, because deciding things, it takes energy. So it's easy to be like, oh, well, my wrist is hurting, and the last time my wrist was hurting, I didn't write. So I'm also not going to write this time. So you were able to write, but your brain was like, I know, the decision has been made for you. We're going to do this thing. So make the decisions beforehand and then make yourself stick to them, because it tires your brain having to make decisions. So do the future you a service and then decide things now. You can even write yourself, a little note like, do this, do that at this time, and stick to it. God, this is going to be such a long video. I'm sorry. I hope you have it in you to watch it. Another thing that you need to consider when you want to actually make progress with your writing is that, are daily writing goals going to work for you? Or maybe weekly writing goals? Or could it be monthly writing goals? So when we can't predict how much writing we're going to do, like how much we can make ourselves do it, but also how much time do we have, then having like, oh, I need to write 1,000 words a day, it can feel really demotivating, like if you can't do it every day. But then if you have like a weekly goal, it can be like, okay, I'm writing 100 words today. The next day you have more time and energy, and then, oh, I've written 2,000 words. So, and for me, it feels nice to like a cheaper way from a big goal, rather than like having the same goal every day. So again, think what is going to actually work for you. What are you going to find motivating? And a lot of that has been about your writing practice, but also what you need to consider. Are you writing something that actually excites you? And again, this sounds very basic, but there are lots of people who they think that they need to write something, like they're supposed to write something, or like, oh, I'm not supposed to write that. I'm supposed to be a serious writer, and no, and it's so silly. If you don't yet have a story idea that you would absolutely love, you should get my free story idea workbook that's going to use all the stuff that you already love and turn those into a story idea. But just the point here is that you really do need to be excited about your story. It needs to mean something to you, and it has to be exciting enough that you're going to keep writing, and that it actually has material in it, for a full story. So yeah, don't fall into the trap of thinking that there's a specific thing that you need to write, or that you need to be a serious writer, or you can't write something else at this age, or because you're a man, or because you're, I don't know, Swedish. Write what lights you up, because it's going to light up your readers as well. And this is probably going to be a bit controversial, but I would suggest that you outline your story. And I know, even with people who are neurotypical, they can say stuff like, oh, I don't want to outline my story. It takes away the joy of discovery. And why would I write my story if I know what happens in it? And it's like, I understand, I used to be like that. Do you know what was the biggest problem with the endings of my story back when I was like that? They didn't exist. I didn't actually ever finish writing anything, because I got an idea and then I just started writing, and then it didn't go anywhere because it wasn't an actual story. Or when I would actually write something, it was a bit like, is this a story? What is happening here? And it just, you're better than that. You're worth more than that. And when you put time and effort into writing, it's a good thing if it actually makes sense and it's a good story. Because storytelling and good writing, they are two very different things. So yeah, when I finally learned how to outline, it actually changed things for me. It made my writing so much better and made writing so much easier. There's going to be a whole video about this, so I'm not going to get into the details of my history with outlining, but like, it doesn't take away the joy of discovery. It just, the discovery happens at a different time. Because let me tell you this, if you didn't already know, if you want to write a novel that you want to share with the world, you're going to have to edit it a lot, and we will talk about editing later and how to make it easier. But it just, if you're going to lose all motivation because you know what happens in your story, that's just bad news. Okay, because you will be reading that story over and over and over again. And just to give you some hope, I started writing a story in, I think, December 2018. I was still working on it like a few weeks ago, and I still love the story. I love reading it. I'm obsessed with it. So like, when you get the right story, you can make yourself work on it forever. But if it's the wrong story, then it doesn't matter whether you outline it or not. But anyway, what outlining also helps you with is vetting ideas. So it's like when you outline your little story and then you say, oh no, actually I don't want to write this. It's very low stakes. Like you could write multiple outlines per day, and then you could see what is the story that you will actually finish writing, and then you can solve a lot of problems beforehand, so you don't get stuck on them later or become demotivated. But also, this is very important, you won't get lost, because you've got your little map there, and you know where you're going, so you won't end up wasting time spent on writing is never wasted, but it's like you only have so much time to write, so it's good if you use that time on writing that actually works, that you're actually going to keep, so you don't end up on these like random roads that don't actually fit in your story. Also, I'm losing the focus of this sentence. Oh my god. But like when you jump into writing and you have an outline and you can be like, oh yes, I know exactly where I am. You can use your time more efficiently. You don't have to remember where you are. You get to see like, oh yes, I was here. And then it's a lot easier to just keep writing. If you have to start every writing session by reading your story again, it's, I don't know, sounds very tiring. And if you think of outlining as like something that you may have learned in school, they didn't teach you actually anything about writing novels in school, but if you think of it as like this summary that you have to do, like, oh, when you're writing an essay, then do this and this first. No. You don't, it doesn't have to be like this 1-page or 10-page summary of your story written in like this certain manner. No, there are many, many ways to outline. I'm going to link my blog post that has all my methods of outlining there, plus all my best resources. But like it could be just bullet points of all your major plot events, and then you could just figure out what happens between them. It could be pictures. You could do like a a little comic of your story. I don't know, you could use index cards. You can use anything that actually works for you and it still counts as an outline. And for me personally, I like first having like the overall story, and then I like outlining my scenes because it gives me sort of security. Analysis paralysis is a big thing for me when I have to create something. So when I make those decisions and plan my story beforehand, I'm like, okay, I know where this is going. And it gives me freedom to figure out what's in this container. So I plan my scenes, sort of like, here's the goal of the scene and here's where it's maybe supposed to go. So I find that very helpful because writing a novel is a big project. So it's a lot easier if you can do it like one piece at a time. And actually, you could benefit from my simple writing tasks. It's another free resource and it is exactly what it sounds like. It's simple writing tasks. It gives you tasks to do depending on where you are in your novel writing journey, so you can just pick one and then do it, and don't waste, and you won't have to waste any time on thinking when you could be writing. I did the thinking for you. If you really hate the idea of outlining, you could try what I call the headlights method. So when you're driving a car in the dark, you can only see as far as your headlights show you, but you have sort of like an overall idea of where you're going. So just figure out where you are going. Where does your story end? What do you want to say with it? What kind of a change do you want to have with it? And then when you start writing any scene, think of like, okay, what is the goal of this scene? Who are they? Where are they? And then start writing. And then when you've written it, again, think, okay, where is this going? What should happen next? And then keep in mind what you've written before, so that it just maintains the cause and effect, the line of cause and effect. So yeah, you could try that. So when it comes to writing your first draft, you can write it like out of order, and having an outline especially helps with that. So if you don't feel inspired to write this tender love scene right now, then maybe you can write the heist scene first, And I already forgot if I said it, but if you have an outline, it's very easy to do that. So you can be like, oh yes, I can write this. But if you think your story has boring parts that you don't really want to write because you want to get to the good parts, that is a sign that your story doesn't actually work. And again, that is a subject for another video. This is going to be quite a long video, but it shouldn't have boring parts that you don't want to write, because then you're not utilizing your story properly and your readers are not going to want to read something that you didn't want to write. So re-evaluate, get back to the drawing board, and again, maybe try some kind of outlining. And when you're writing your novel and you feel like, oh, I'm getting so bored of this, I don't want to do this, it can be helpful to have like a second project, because that's going to keep the momentum going. And if you've just set up your writing practice, your writing routine, then you don't want to take maybe too much time away from it, so you could have another project to write on. Like maybe you have this serious project that you want to publish someday, then you could have a more light-hearted project that maybe you don't actually want to share with anyone. It could be like fan fiction or something completely self-indulgent, for example. Or you could have two projects that are like in very different phases, for example. So like when you're editing something, then maybe you start outlining something else when you're like, oh, I can't bear this anymore. But don't have more than two, please. That's my very professional recommendation. But also don't use another project to indefinitely escape from difficult parts of writing. You are capable of doing the difficult parts of writing, and there's just not going around the fact that there will be difficult parts. But yeah, it can help to de-stress and to help to keep the momentum going without going a little insane. But also, writing isn't all there is to life. So you could, because like I said, it is a long project, and it's kind of stressful for your brain to do something such a long time without the feeling of like it's finished. So do some kind of shorter projects. Like, yeah, if you want to write, you could write like poems, maybe short stories, or just like do these quick writing exercises, or like use writing prompts. But you could do something with your hands. Like, I don't know, what could you possibly do with your hands that could be like something easy to finish? Well, this isn't like a finishing in one sitting kind of thing, but you could do something smaller. You could do like granny squares. Every time you've written a page, you could crochet a granny square, and you could have like a massive quilt by the end of your novel. But yeah, the point is do other stuff as well, and stuff that is easy to finish, so that you give yourself the satisfaction of, oh yes, I finished something. Although I know we have ADHD, our brains don't give us the good feeling hormones when we've finished something, but still, it's good for you to actually finish something too when you're working on such a massive project. And something I want you to remember, because a lot of ADHD people, like we've got a reputation for like being shoddy, and yeah, we don't. Sometimes it's difficult to do things well when we get distracted or forget something. But like many of us are actually very critical of ourselves, and we feel like we need to do things perfectly. But just remember, your writing, it doesn't have to be good. You shouldn't even try to be good. When you're writing a first draft, don't try to be good. Please, do me a favor, write a really, really bad first draft. Edit well, learn to edit well, but write badly. Just when you're being creative, you can't also be critical. It's a bit like braking at the same time as accelerating. So they are two very different things. So don't try to do them at the same time. So for example, I just realized I forgot something. Oh well. Like when you're brainstorming events for your story, when you're outlining, or like before you start proper outlining, you don't want to be critical at that point. You just want to get all the ideas out and then be critical and choose what you're actually going to use. And then when you're writing, don't be critical there. Again, just write, be bad, but to have the freedom to be bad. Nothing's going to happen if the writing is bad. And then when you're editing, then turn on the critical part and then be critical, but not before then. And when you're editing, edit in stages. So yeah, it absolutely can feel like an insurmountable task if you're like, I have 300 pages to edit, and I need to keep working and working until it's better. And what does better even mean? Don't do that, okay? I'm not saying this just for my ADHD folks, but anyone. Start from big and go to small and work in stages, as in have a focus for every single round of edits, as in each draft. So start from the big stuff, like your plot. Is it working? Do you need to delete things? Do you need to add things? I'm going to add my link to my blog post where I give you an easy well, not easy, but easy to follow process for editing your novel. Because if you start from page 1 and proceed to the last page every single time and just fixing everything on site. You're going to burn out, but also your writing, it's not going to actually improve your writing. So choose a focus for each draft. Are you working on the plots? Are you working on scenes, characters, dialogue? What is it? That is going to make it so much easier. And it's not necessary to track like which draft is this, is the 5th or 7th, doesn't matter. And like I've said so many times, but just it's important that you find a way that works for you. Your life can look like your life. It should look like your life. So your writing and your writing process and your writing routines, they should look like you and they should work for you. You're doing this for you. Like, yeah, your story will be for your readers if it's something that you want to share with the world. But like this process and what you're doing and why you're doing it, it belongs to you. So like make it look like you. It's if someone's telling you you have to do things differently, just because, or because for them it's important that everyone does things the same way, don't listen to them. Be you, do things your way. You're the expert of your brain. And like try different things. Don't just go, oh, that isn't going to work for me. Try it. Like with the outlining, don't just go, oh, it's not going to work for me, and then continue writing stories that you never actually finish or that don't make sense. Like if something works for you, great. It's no skin off my back if you do something differently. I only want you to succeed, not to agree with me. But again, if something isn't working for you, then you should try something different until you find what works for you. And sometimes, I'm sorry to say, it can also, what works for you can change depending on your story. I'm sorry. It's a bit of a gamble sometimes. And then lastly, I want you to remember, just be kind to yourself and be patient. Writing a novel, it's a big project. Like I've said 58 times over the course of this very long video. Well, it might not be very long. In the recording right now, it's like 48 minutes. I'm hoping to whittle it down to like half an hour, maybe. I don't know how much I've rambled or how much I'm just like staring at the screen. But yeah, anyway, what was I saying? Yes, be kind to yourself. Be patient. You're not in a hurry. Writing is not a speed race. And it's like all the novels are written one word at a time. And like you're not going to do it in one sitting anyway. So why the rush? Just do things your way at your pace. You don't have to be anyone else except you. And don't think that you have to do things any certain way. I probably already said this. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. But like I make all these great digital tools for writing and outlining. I especially love my Genius plotting system. It has all my best stuff. But it's like I don't always use that stuff myself, because sometimes it's like I can definitely outline my story with this, but I'm not going to look at it. I'm going to look at my notebook. My notebook is going to work for me. So it doesn't matter how cool your like Notion novel writing dashboard is. If it doesn't work for you, then it doesn't work for you. So I did something horribly wrong again. I'm just going to end this video. Go and write something or crochet. Goodbye.